We're listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Way. We built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag cause we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. We never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can, we're Americans.
This is Rio of Madison Rising, and you're listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show. Now, here's Grouchy.
Good evening, everybody. In case you missed it, we are a nation of immigrants, but we are a nation of laws. Our nation is rightly disturbed by the large number of illegal aliens entering our country. Illegal immigrants take jobs from citizens or legal immigrants. They impose burdens on our taxpayers. That is why we are doubling the number of border guards, deporting more illegal immigrants than ever before, cracking down on illegal hiring, barring benefits to illegal aliens, and we will do more to speed the deportation of illegal immigrants arrested for crimes. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws that has occurred over the last several years, and we must do more to stop it. You might think I'm quoting Donald Trump. You'd be wrong. That was Bill Clinton from his State of the Union speech back in, 2002? Something like that? I don't know. It doesn't matter. That was Bill Clinton. Those were his words. It's starting to get a little awkward for the identity politics of the left to defend their own history while denigrating Trump's actions of today. Wouldn't you say? Look, Trump's not perfect. There was a reason that he wasn't my choice to begin with when the primary season started. I think so far, though, we're 12 short days into his administration? I don't really have a lot to complain about. Could the travel ban have been rolled out a little smoother and been a little easier for people out in the field actually enacting it and enforcing it to understand? Yes, it could. But then again, we're going to have to get used to how Trump works. And before Trump ever had political aspirations, the man was, he may not be right now, he may not be what he was, but he was a business genius. I studied Trump when he was younger, when I was younger. There's a good 21 years age difference. So I was about 21 when I read Art of the Deal. And there were a lot of things that I didn't care for in the book, but there are a lot of things that stuck with me that I have learned and either proven to be true by doing myself or learned to be true by not doing and getting burned by not doing them. So say what you will about the man. But like with just about anybody else in this whole world, there's something good and something bad in every one of us. Now, while Trump is working to secure our borders here at the homeland, I thought I would share with you that Polish Interior Minister Mariusz Błaszczak has promised new immigration laws which will boost national security in Poland. He wants to strengthen the country's borders and make it easier to expel illegal immigrants. Their main concern, he said, followed by sealing the borders, and thirdly, the introduction of procedures facilitating the expulsion of people entering or trying to enter Poland illegally, is security. Radio Poland reports that the political populist socially conservative government's intention is to target, in particular, illegal immigrants using Poland as a so-called transit country on their way to generous welfare states such as Germany, Sweden, and the UK. If migrants know they cannot get across the Polish border, they will not try it, said Błaszczak, emulating the hard line on illegal migration taken by neighboring Hungary, which was subject to hundreds of thousands of illegal border crossings until the government took the decision to rapidly construct border walls and fences to keep illegal immigrants out. Folks, this is going viral, as it were. It's not just Poland and it's not just Hungary. This is us. This is here in the U.S., but pushback from European Union member states in Central and Eastern Europe on mass migration and open borders have led to a number of flare-ups between Brussels and, in particular, the Visegrad group. If you don't know the V4, that's Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, and the Czech Republic. They have their own little union. All of the so-called V4 governments have opposed a Brussels-led plan to share migrants invited into the European Union in unlimited numbers by German Chancellor Angela Merkel across the bloc through compulsory quotas. The left liberal politicians in the West are trying to come up with ways to bring them to heel. Poland's new government, the first to win a majority mandate from voters since the fall of communism, think about that. They've been governed by pluralities since communism fell until now. They elected a majority conservative government. They've been subjected to an unprecedented European Union probe into democracy and the rule of law, while the European Commission is attempting to fine member states which refuse to take part in its compulsory quota system 250,000 euros per migrant that they turn down. More recently, a leading Swedish member of parliament had proposed modification to the Commission proposal, suggesting that the EU just withhold funds rather than impose fines. European Union governments' restraint to the prevailing wisdom on mass immigration and the open borders have taken heart from the election of United States President Donald Trump. Both the Czech president and the Hungarian government have welcomed him as an ally in the border struggle against EU elites who put pro-migration ideology ahead of the safety of their citizens. Folks, I don't care who you are. That's powerful stuff. You're talking about the European Union going to battle with itself, with core member states, talking about withholding money from them for turning migrants away at the border. One can only imagine the widespread media, political, and intellectual condemnation of Republicans in the United States and conservative-minded people that brand themselves as independents if after the inauguration of Barack Obama, they had gone on a violent and vicious tear all over the nation, as did Democrats, liberals, socialists, etc., after the inauguration of President Trump. They committed acts such as assaulting Trump supporters, setting fires, stoning police. Suppose Republicans and conservatives had carried signs that read F Obama, or talked about blowing up the White House, or took to social media talking about how they can't wait for the assassination to occur. It can't happen soon enough. There's still 2 days before inauguration. Somebody should step up and stop him now. The news media, instead of calling them protesters, would have labeled them evil racists, obstructionists, and everything else except for a child of God. The reason for the difference in treatment is simple. Republicans and conservative-minded independents are held by themselves and society to higher standards of behavior. By contrast, Democrats, liberals, and socialists hold themselves, and as well as civilization holding them, to lower standards of behavior. But just to show you that I'm not spouting hyperbole here, let's take a look at some of the history of conservative and liberal behavior. And folks, before we even get into the history, let me back up just a minute by saying there were alleged conservative people out there in very, very small numbers protesting Obama the way I was just talking about, the way the liberals are doing widespread protests of Trump. That is not. And you heard Republicans and conservatives chastise them for it. I was among those people chastising these idiots carrying signs that did say F Obama. Okay? No, it's not okay to walk around with an Obama doll with a noose around his neck. It's not. The same way it's not okay to walk around with a Trump doll with a noose around his neck, or lighting it on fire, or burning our flag. Now back into the history here. One of the nastiest, more recent liberal events was the Occupy movement around the nation. During the Occupy protests, there were rapes, assaults, robberies, holdups. These people publicly defecated and urinated on police cars and buildings. The mess they left after their demonstrations can be described as no more than a pigsty. Does anybody recall any Democratic official from the president on down admonishing them to behave? I mean, even to pick up their trash. This is supposed to be the party that cares about the environment, and they left more landfill than New York City dumps in a week. Contrast their behavior with that of the Tea Party protesters. Tea Partiers didn't set fires. They didn't stone police or engage in other kinds of despicable behavior the liberal Democrats did. On top of that, they left the areas where they protested clean, if not cleaner, than when they arrived. Ask yourself, and be honest, whether you've ever seen Republicans or conservatives rioting, turning over police cars, looting, breaking windows out of businesses, setting them on fire, shouting obscenities while marching. Have you ever seen conservatives marching with chants calling for the murder of police officers? If you've never heard the liberals do it, you need to go back and look at some of the protests after the St. Louis Ferguson shootings, where marching liberals were recorded on camera yelling, "What do we want? Dead cops. When do we want it? Now." In fact, virtually all of the violence against police, whether it's throwing stones, ambushing, murdering, is committed by liberals or people who identify as Democrats or socialists or outcasts. The fact of the matter is that if we were to examine criminality in America, whether talking about murderers, muggers, or just prisoners in general, it would be dominated by people who would be described as liberals, Democrats, leftists, Hillary supporters, whatever you want to call them. Democrats and liberals accuse Republicans of conducting a war on women. Assault, rape, and murder are the worst things that I think can be done to a woman. I know there's a lot of terrible things that can be done to human beings. I'd bet a lot of money that most of the assaults, rapes, and murders of women are done by people who identify as liberals or Democrats. And if they had a voting record that could be made public or their party affiliation made public, it would be Democrat or Democratic. One of the most glaring examples of how liberals are held to lower standards comes when we look at what they control. The nation's most dangerous big cities in 2012 were Detroit, Oakland, St. Louis, Memphis, Stockton, California, Birmingham, Alabama, Baltimore, Maryland, Cleveland, Ohio, Atlanta, and Milwaukee. The most common characteristic of these cities is that for decades, all of them have been run by Democratic and presumably liberal administrations. Some cities, such as Detroit, Buffalo, Newark, and Philadelphia, haven't elected a Republican mayor for more than half a century. It's not just personal safety. These Democratic-controlled cities have the poorest quality public education, despite the fact that they have large and growing school budgets. Most of these dangerous cities have suffered massive decreases in population. Some observers have suggested that racism has caused white flight to the suburbs. But these observers ignore the fact that black flight has become increasingly significant too. It turns out that a lot of black people do not like to be mugged and live in unsafe neighborhoods any more than white people do. Go figure. Republicans and conservatives, including President Trump, should not gripe or whine about different treatment by the liberal media. Oh no, and here's why. Magnanimity commands that we have compassion and try to understand our fallen brethren. We should make every effort to sell them on the moral superiority of personal liberty and its main ingredient, limited government. It's the least we can do, folks. And never let it be said that I won't do the least that I can do. Now, getting back to where we started on the program, the recent hysterical reactions to the temporary travel ban announced Friday is a portent of what is to come if President Trump carries out the mandate given to him by those who elected him. And I know you say he doesn't have a mandate. Well, he kind of does. He kind of does. I mean, you can argue popular vote versus electoral college vote. He had a commanding electoral college win. No, it wasn't the biggest ever. Was his inauguration crowd the biggest ever? No, it wasn't. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And I wish he'd quit talking about crap like that. Okay, that's one thing he does that does bother me. Call him out for the bad, I'll praise him for the good. That's what I do. Okay, but here's the thing. Anybody, well, let's just get back to the notes here. Let's get back to the notes. We'll break off in a minute. The travel ban, travel pause, bars refugees for 120 days. From Syria, refugees are banned indefinitely. And a 90-day ban has been imposed on travel to the United States from the nations of Iraq, Syria, Iran, Libya, Sudan, Somalia, and Yemen. So was that weekend-long primal scream really justified? And as of Monday, there was no one being detained at a United States airport, yet the shrieking had not stopped. All 5 stories on page 1 of Monday's Washington Post were about the abomination. The New York Times editorial, trashing American ideals and security, called it bigoted, cowardly, xenophobic, Islamophobic, un-American, and unrighteous in 2 paragraphs. You know, this ban, so the weekend whale went, is the quote-unquote Muslim ban of the Trump campaign. But how so, when not one of the 6 largest Muslim countries, Indonesia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Egypt, and Turkey, was on the list? Also missing were 36 other Muslim majority countries. Of the 7 countries facing a 90-day pause in travel, 3 are United States designated state sponsors of terror. And the other 4 are war zones. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that this is about homeland security and not religious discrimination. The criterion for being included in the travel ban appears to be that these places are the more likely breeding grounds for terrorists. Yet there are lessons for the Trump White House in the media-stoked panic and outrage at the end of his first week in office. First, Steve Bannon's observation that the media are the opposition party is obviously on target. While Senator Chuck Schumer was crying on camera, pathetic piece of garbage he is, that the ban was un-American, the media were into more serious business of stampeding and driving the protesters. A second lesson is one every White House learns. Before a major decision is announced, if possible, get everyone's input and everyone on board to provide what Pat Moynihan called the second and third echelons of advocacy. Those left out tend to leak. A third lesson Trump should learn is the establishment he routed and the city he humiliated are out to break him as they broke LBJ on Vietnam, Nixon on Watergate, and almost broke Reagan on the Iran-Contra affair. While the establishment may no longer be capable of inspiring and leading the nation, so detested is it, it has not lost its appetite or its ability to break and bring down presidents. And Trump is vulnerable, make no mistake, not only because he is an envied outsider who sees the highest prize politics has to offer, but because his agenda would cancel out that of many of the elites. They believe in open borders, free trade, globalization. Trump believes in securing the southern border, bringing U.S. industry home, economic nationalism, and America first. They want endless immigration from the third world to remake America into the polyglot, universal nation of Ben Wattenberg's utopian vision. Trump's followers want back the America they know and love. Our foreign policy elites see democratization as a vocation and an autocratic Russia as an implacable enemy. Trump instead sees Moscow as a potential ally, if not somebody we can just be normal with, against real enemies like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. There is another reason for the reflexive howl at Trump's travel ban, too. The establishment views it, probably correctly, as the first move toward a new immigration policy built on pre-1965 foundations and rooted in a preference for Western Christian immigrants first. And quite frankly, I don't have a problem with that. We've been over my ideas for immigration before on this program a couple of times. But I'll tell you what, folks, it's the bottom of the hour. We got to take a quick break. Stay tuned. When we get back, we'll finish this up, and then we'll move on to something else. We'll be back in about 3 or 4. Stay tuned. Come right back here.
Oh, but ain't that America? You and me. Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached
So what's for dinner
to
tonight?
Stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working.
You're
It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our
Killing me.
writing.
Last week, fried chicken.
At Black
This week,
Wolf
Philly
Editorial
cheesesteak.
Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your website, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Oh, but ain't that America? You and me, ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
All right, welcome back. Yeah, I was singing along. It's okay. Hey, look, just real quick, just want to remind everybody that after the show tonight, as usual, Jesse's POV will be next, followed by Constitution and Culture, followed by America Off the Rails with Rowdy Rick Robinson. Folks, that is your Grand Slam Wednesday night. That's four bases. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Every Wednesday night. Because, I mean, face it, you want to be here listening to us on Wednesday night primetime. You want to be listening to us every night primetime because, let's get real, TV sucks like on a Dyson Hoover Shark combination kind of level. You just want to be here. So anyway, when we left, we were talking travel ban. And when the Washington Times rages that American ideals or traditional American values are under attack by Trump, what they really mean is that their ideology and agenda are being threatened by Trump. We are headed for a series of collisions and crises, and what has happened in Europe will likely happen here on some level, as the third world invasion and growing Islamization of the old continent, which the EU has proven unable to stop, has discredited centrist parties and continuously fed a populist nationalist uprising over there, as I was talking about Poland earlier. And it's happening here. Folks, how do you think Trump won this election? Why do you think the left is so outraged? They were so certain, absolutely so certain, that Hillary was going to win, that they were throwing out the conciliatory, no matter what happens, we should all unite after this. And then the next day they were like, F you Republicans, F you Trump, and blah, 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 blah. They're still pissed because they lost an election. You're talking about a new generation of voters that have always gotten participation trophies. They don't know how to lose anything. They've never had to struggle for anything. And Trump not only appears to have no desire to yield to his enemies on politics and the media, he has no choice, as now he's the personification of a surging middle America counter-revolution. Undeniably, there are great numbers of Americans who agree with the libels the Times showered on Trump, and by extension, his backers, whom Hillary Clinton designated the racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic baskets of deplorables. By whatever slurs they're called, middle Americans seem prepared to fight for their country now. And frankly, it's about damn time. History shows that such people do not calmly accept the loss of what is most precious to them. The country they grew up in, the country they love. They've turned to Trump to lead them. Whether that's wise or not, we'll see. Why should he not, having been raised up by them and knowing in his own heart what the establishment and the media think of him and would do to him? 12 days in, folks, and already it's game on. Now, just another glaring example here of this tolerant left that we've been talking about for about 35 minutes now tonight. You know, especially in recent years, the left loves to bash Christians for not approving of gay marriage. But the leading candidate for chair of the Democratic National Committee, Keith Ellison, Congressman Keith Ellison of Minnesota, is a Muslim. And Islam strictly forbids homosexuality. Another candidate running for the DNC chair correctly pointed out this fact, and it got him ousted from the competition for the chair. Check this out. The DNC is kicking a candidate out of the chairmanship race after he told The Hill that Keith Ellison, Democrat, Minnesota, should not be the party's next leader because he is a Muslim. Vincent Tolliver, a former House candidate in Arkansas, said that Ellison, the first Muslim elected to Congress, should not be chairman because of Islamic positions on homosexuality. His being a Muslim is precisely why DNC voters should not vote for him, Tolliver wrote. Muslims discriminate against gays. Islamic law is clear on the subject, and being gay is a direct violation of it. In some Muslim countries, being gay is a crime punishable by death. Clearly, Mr. Ellison is not the person to lead the DNC or any other organization committed to not discriminating based on gender identity or sexual orientation, Tolliver continued. I'm shocked that the Human Rights Campaign has been silent on this issue. Let me tell you, folks, a lot of us on the right have been pretty busy dealing with these diehard Trump can do no wrong, it doesn't matter what happens, versus never Trumpers, versus those in the middle who are glad Hillary lost. We're not 100% sure on Trump, but we're willing to give him a chance. We're going to support the good. We're going to call him out on the bad kind of folks. You would think that it's just the right that is eating itself alive. I got news for you. It's happening on the left, too. Now, Mr. Producer has a piece of audio, too, for us. I think he does anyway, of Congressman Ellison. And if we could, Mr. Producer, let's go ahead and get that queued up and roll.
Congressman, the president's defenders would say that after the Iranian hostage crisis, Jimmy Carter asked Iranian students to report to immigration offices. During the Obama administration, the State Department paused Iraqi refugee processing because of terrorism concerns. So that what Donald Trump is doing here, it may be bigger, but it is in keeping with what previous presidents have done.
You know what? We've never had a religious-based ban before, and they can't deny that this is a Muslim ban. It is a Muslim ban. On the campaign trail, he said he wanted a Muslim ban. He said on national television that there would be other religious groups that would receive priority. This is a Muslim ban. Rudy Giuliani, who helped him write it, said that they started out with the intention of a Muslim ban, and then they sort of languaged it up so to try to avoid that label, but it is a religiously based ban, which is something that our Constitution says Congress shall make no law establishing a religion or abridge the free exercise thereof. This is a violation of equal protection. It is a religiously based ban. If they can ban Muslims, why can't they ban Mormons? Why can't they ban Seventh-day Adventists? Why can't they move into ethnic groups?
But in this case, they've named countries which were named on lists already by the Obama administration. And if it were a Muslim ban, why wouldn't they ban Pakistan and Indonesia and Turkey and Egypt? None of those countries are affected.
Well, according to Reds Priebus, they're working on it, right? I mean, that's what I heard him just tell you, that they might just add more. But the fact is that terrorism, a horrible scourge on the planet, comes from all kinds of places, some where the majority of the population is Muslim, some not. And it even comes from within our country. And the fact is that we cannot make a religious-based distinction. We have to go based on the evidence that we find that people are actually engaged in. And let me just tell you, when you want to ban refugees, these folks go through an 18 to 24-month vetting as it is. The fact is that if you talk about banning Syrians, about 3/4 of those folks are women and children. A full third of them are kids under 12 years old. Now, as the world is watching Syrian children being dying in war, he's saying those children have no place of refuge in America, and I find that.
No. So anyway, so Congressman Ellison, as he so eloquently put it, calls this a religious test. He calls it a Muslim ban, and then he cites the Constitution to defeat his own case, that the government shall establish no religion or infringe upon the practice thereof. This travel ban does neither of those. It does not impose a religion on people, and it does not keep anybody, whether inside the United States or outside of the United States trying to get in, from practicing their religion of choice. This is where the left will fail. They cannot make this argument. The Constitution gives the President of the United States wide discretion when it comes to stopping immigration based on presidential authority in the name of whatever. There's so many provisions that have been written into the law that the president can cite to stop immigration of any kind. And this is the guy that's the front runner to lead the DNC. Please, dear God, make him the chairperson. Make him the chairperson. I would love to see Keith Ellison pushing Cory Booker to get to the White House. That would be a rolling dumpster fire across the country of a campaign. You thought Trump's campaign was crazy. Oh, boy. Now, anyway, okay. We're going to move on. We touched briefly on Senator Schumer's fake tears over this travel pause. It's just heartbreaking. But Schumer on Monday apparently regained his composure and said that President Trump should, quote, stick to the substance after Trump mocked Schumer for becoming emotional while condemning the temporary travel ban placed on citizens from 7 countries, all of which are overwhelmingly Muslim. Schumer said on CNN's Aaron Burnett Out Front, because no one wants Aaron Burnett out back, I guess, I'm not going to dignify that kind of silliness. Let him roll up his sleeves and put something out that really does prevent terrorists rather than this. How does he know this won't? Name-calling and things like that are what's led to these problems that we're seeing, Schumer said. He doesn't take this presidency seriously enough, at least in this instance. I've said all along, there are times he flatters me and there are times he calls me names. He's not going to influence me. Oh, Chucky, you're so tough. You're so tough. Trump's order, dubbed Protecting the Nation from Foreign Terrorist Entry into the United States, puts a temporary ban, like we discussed earlier, on citizens from Syria, Somalia, Iran, Libya, Sudan, Yemen, and Iraq for at least 90 days, suspends the refugee program for 4 months, bans Syrian refugees indefinitely, calls for new immigration screening procedures, and directs the Secretary of Homeland Security to conduct a 30-day review to determine which countries failed to provide adequate information for its citizens to be issued visas to enter the United States. Folks, I have no problem with this. No problem with this at all. We as a nation, and we've covered this before on the show too several times. You know it if you've been listening. We spend $115 billion, that's with a B, billion dollars a year on illegal immigration expenditures. For everything from medical care to education to free lunches to welfare to earned income tax credits. Yeah, how do they get this? How does somebody that works for cash under the table and then files a damn tax return get money back? I don't get it. This is what we're getting, folks. This is the lunacy. We got a lot to blow through here still. So we have an acting attorney general in the interim position here that was an Obama appointee holdover into Trump's administration that decided she wasn't going to do her job. And Trump fired her. Hey, guess what? If I told my boss I wasn't going to do my job, he'd fire me too. That's how it works. From a former attorney general, Alberto Gonzales, Sally Yates should have stepped down as acting attorney general rather than telling Justice Department attorneys that they were not to defend President Trump's travel ban. While questioning if she had been consulted before the order was issued. This whole episode has some very bizarre facts, Gonzales said, who served under former President George W. Bush. As a typical matter, of course, the Department of Justice signs off on any executive order because they will be the ones to defend it. And indeed, this order was crafted by the Justice Department. Ordinarily, conversations would have been held between Yates, the White House Office of Legal Counsel, Chief of Staff Reince Priebus, and President Trump over disagreements on the ban, and then it would have been up to Yates whether to proceed. At that point, if the White House says we still want to move forward, I think it would have been appropriate for Yates to then resign as opposed to sending out a blanket order to the DOJ lawyers that they're not going to defend this executive order. Trump fired Yates on Monday night for refusing to defend the executive order and accused her of betraying the Justice Department with her decision about the order, which banned travel from the Muslim countries. Now, it's a strong word, betray. But if by the Constitution the president has the authority to stop immigration for nearly any freaking thing he wants to, she actually did betray the Justice Department. And she betrayed the law. I don't know, it sounds like a strong word. It sounds like a word that gets tossed around a little bit. Whatever. I think it fits here. Gonzalez continued to say that when she was in the White House, or when he was in the White House, the Justice Department was dealing with many sensitive terrorism issues, but still made it a point to allow the OLC to consult with the Attorney General or Deputy Attorney General. That's the Office of Legal Counsel. I think that's vitally important, and the fact that that might not have occurred here to me is troubling, said Gonzalez. Also interesting, of course, is the notion that the White House is dealing with congressional staffers and not dealing with the principals themselves. Gonzalez himself resigned in 2007 after he was accused of committing perjury before Congress concerning the National Security Agency's surveillance programs, according to the New York Times, but said Tuesday he did not think a disagreement with a president should lead to a dismissal. Well, a disagreement necessarily wouldn't have. It was the going behind his back that did. At that point, you have a conversation with the White House. Oh, here we go. Okay, Alberto, you're covering your bases now. And ultimately, hopefully, with the President of the United States, he said. There was one instance where I had a very serious conversation with the President, and I was prepared to resign my position as Attorney General because the President is entitled to have his lawful orders carried out. As we all know, the President of the United States uses a great deal of discretion with the protection of our country. So this is not a black and white analysis from my perspective. Further, it's more important for there to be diverse opinions in a president's administration, Gonzalez said, and people should feel confident to voice their opinions. Yates was a holdover from the Obama administration and was working pending the confirmation of Attorney General nominee Jeff Sessions, who cleared committee today with a little switcheroo of the rules because Democrats kept boycotting the committee meeting. So anyway, there we have it. Now, let me see. What do I have here? We can cover this. We got time. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Democrats in his press conference have been trying to delay votes for President Trump's cabinet nominees in an unprecedented fashion, at a time when critical national security positions are remaining unfilled, said Senator Tom Cotton Wednesday morning. On Friday, they should have voted Mike Pompeo to be the director of CIA, which they actually ended up doing later in the day on Friday. He was looking forward to confirming Pompeo and the rest of the nominees as quickly as possible. It takes 24 hours around the clock votes, then that's what I'm committed to doing, said Cotton. We need to get a cabinet in position. Here's what happens when we don't put a cabinet in position, folks. We have confusion with the rollout of executive orders. We have chaos in the execution of these legal orders. People don't understand what they're supposed to be doing because there's nobody to communicate it down to them. This is what the Democrats are doing. And they're doing it intentionally and then turning around and accusing Trump's administration of creating chaos. But who's creating the chaos, folks? I say it's the Democrats. At this point in Obama's administration, he had 14 cabinet members in place. Trump has, 3 now after today? Tillerson was approved today, 3 or 4 senior cabinet members in place. It's ridiculous what they're doing. And like I said, they're doing it on purpose. There was no reason to delay Rex Tillerson's confirmation vote. they did it for spite. I told you, folks, Trump is not sit back and dictate to him. He's an action guy. Okay? This is what I learned about Trump, God, almost 30 years ago now. Trump likes to get things done. He's going to act, and if something happens that's not in the plan, he'll make a correction for that, but he's going to act. He's not going to sit down and strategically plan it all out and look for 18 different ways for problems to occur and then have a contingency for each of those. That's not Trump. He's going to plow forward, and if the Democrats continue, he's going to just plow forward with who he has. You know, maybe that's what it's going to take. Maybe that's what it's going to take. Folks, we're back around to the top of the hour. As usual, it has been my pleasure to be here with you. And also, as usual, I encourage you to do your own homework on these and other stories. Don't ever take the media's word for it. Don't ever take the president's word for it. Read the facts. If you know you're going to have to dig to find them because the media creates their own facts. We know that now. You can't trust the media to give you just facts and let you make your decision. They're going to tell you what to think. That's not what we're about. We do our homework. We gather our facts, and then we make our opinion. That's how we operate. That's how we're supposed to operate as conservatives. So anyway, if you like the show, tell a friend. If your friends like the show, you probably need new friends, but they and you are welcome here every Wednesday with me, the Conservative Curmudgeon, on KLRN Radio. It has been a blast, folks. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next week.
Oh, but ain't that America for you and me? Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that